The rain-slicked streets of Seattle gleamed under the sodium lamps as Brooks pulled his beat-up Subaru into the driveway of the old Craftsman house on Queen and Hill. The kind of place that whispered secrets through its creaking floorboards and fogged-up windows. He killed the engine, heart pounding like the bass drum in some forgotten indie rock song. Because tonight wasn't just about the Seahawks game. It was about stealing glances at the man who had haunted his dreams for months. The one who should have been off-limits in every conceivable way. And as the front door swung open before he could even knock, Harlan's broad silhouette filled the frame. His voice rough with that easy Midwester drawl. "Get in here, kid, before you drown out there," pulling Brooks into a world where one touch could unravel everything. Brooks stepped inside, shaking droplets from his hair, the scent of fresh popcorn and aged leather hitting him like a wave. The living room was a time capsule of Jake's childhood, faded team posters on the walls, a worn leather recliner that Harlan claimed as his throne, and a massive flat screen flickering with pre-game hype. Jake, his best friend since freshman year at the University of Washington, was sprawled on the couch, cracking open a beer with that lopsided grin that said he owned the room. "Dude, you're late." Dad's been pacing like he's the one throwing passes. Harlan chuckled from the kitchen, emerging with a tray of nachos piled high. His flannel shirt rolled up to reveal forearms corded with the quiet strength of a man who fixed engines for a living at the Boeing plant. At 48, Harlan Whitaker was the kind of handsome that crept up on you, salt and pepper hair cropped close, laugh lines etching depth into his blue eyes, and a body that spoke of Saturday hikes in the Cascades rather than gym obsessions. Brooks forced a laugh, sinking into the armchair across from Jake. But his gaze snagged on Harlan's hands as he set the tray down, those calloused fingers brushing his accidentally. Or was it? The touch lingered a beat too long, sending a jolt through Brooks like static from a wool blanket on a winter night. He'd known Jake since they were awkward 18-year-olds bonding over bad coffee and worse poetry slams in the UW dorms. Jake, with his surfer boy blonde hair and endless supply of dad jokes, had been the anchor in Brooks's drifting life, the one who dragged him to dive bars in Capitol Hill and late-night drives along the Puget Sound when the anxiety clawed too deep. But Harlan was the complication Brooks hadn't seen coming. It started innocently enough, 6 months back, when Jake had dragged him to a family barbecue in the backyard, the grill smoke curling up like unanswered questions. Harlan had clapped him on the shoulder, said, "You're family now, Brooks. Stick around," and something in the weight of his palm had cracked open a door Brooks had kept bolted shut. The game kicked off with a roar from the crowd on TV, the announcers' voices a distant hum beneath the easy banter. Jake dominated the conversation, predicting every play with the confidence of a man who believed in second chances, while Harlan leaned back in his chair, nursing a single IPA, his eyes occasionally drifting to Brooks with a warmth that felt like sunlight piercing Seattle's perpetual gray. Brooks tried to focus on the screen, the Seahawks quarterback dodging tackles, the crowd's electric surge, but his mind replayed fragments, the way Harlan's voice dropped low when he talked about his late wife, gone 5 years now from cancer, leaving behind a house full of echoes, the quiet pride in his tone when he spoke of Jake's graphic design gig downtown, the unspoken loneliness that Brooks, at 24, recognized all too well from his own fractured family back in Spokane. Brooks's parents had split when he was 12, his dad vanishing into the oil fields of North Dakota, his mom piecing together shifts as a nurse. He'd come out at 17, met with a hug from her and silence from everyone else, which was its own kind of wound. Seattle had been his reinvention, barista by day at a Fremont coffee shop, aspiring writer by night, scribbling stories of men who found each other in the rain. But reinvention didn't erase the ache for something real. Halftime arrived with the score tied, and Jake bolted up, announcing a bathroom run and a refill. The room fell into a charged quiet, broken only by the commercials droning on about trucks and beer. Harlan shifted, his knee brushing Brooks's as he reached for the remote. "You holding up okay over there? You seem distracted." His voice was gravel and honey, eyes locking on Brooks's with an intensity that made the air thicken. Brooks swallowed, pulse racing. "Just the game. It's intense. A lie. Paper thin." Harlan's lips quirked. Not quite a smile. "Nah. It's more than that. I see it in you, kid. That look, like you're carrying the weight of the world in those eyes." The words hung there. Intimate. Invasive. Brooks's breath caught, the room shrinking to the space between them. Harlan's hand rested on the arm of the chair, inches from his, and in that suspended moment, Brooks wondered if he was imagining the pull, the magnetic draw toward this man who was old enough to be his father, wise enough to see through his armor. Jake burst back in, shattering the spell, tossing a fresh beer Brooks's way. "Catch!" Butterfingers, the second half blurred by in a frenzy of cheers and groans. The Seahawks pulling ahead in the final quarter with a touchdown that had Jake leaping from the couch, pumping his fist. Harlan clapped Brooks on the back, harder this time, lingering, his palm warm through the flannel. "Good call on that blitz, Brooks. You've got instincts." The praise landed like a spark on dry tinder. As the credits rolled and Jake yawned about an early design meeting, Brooks gathered his jacket, mumbling thanks. Harlan walked him to the door, the porch light casting long shadows. "Come back anytime." Doors always open. Their eyes met again, and in that gaze, Brooks saw it, the unspoken invitation, the crack in the facade. He nodded, stepping into the drizzle, heart hammering as he drove down the hill, the city lights blurring through the windshield like tears he wouldn't let fall. Little did he know, that crack would widen into a chasm, pulling them all under. The days that followed were a haze of routine laced with obsession. Brooks poured lattes at the coffee shop, the steam from the espresso machine mirroring the fog in his head. But every free moment circled back to Harlan. "A text from Jake, dude. Dad loved having you over. Round 2 next Sunday," sent his stomach twisting. He replied with emojis, casual as ever, but alone in his cramped Belltown apartment. Posters of Kerouac and Ginsberg peeling from the walls. He paced, replaying the brush of knees. The weight of that gaze. Was it real? Or was he projecting his own starved heart onto a man just being kind? Harlan Whitaker wasn't the type for complications. He was the steady one. The widower who coached Little League on weekends and volunteered at the food bank. The father who had raised Jake alone after the chemo appointments became too much. Brooks had glimpsed the photos on the mantle, Harlan and Elena, young and laughing at some county fair. Jake a toddler between them, and felt the stab of envy for a life so neatly framed. Yet desire didn't care about frames. It bloomed in the quiet hours, when Brooks lay awake, listening to the ferry's horn in the distance, imagining Harlan's hands on him, not paternal, but possessive, mapping the lines of his body with the same care he tuned engines. It was wrong, a betrayal of the friendship that had saved him. But wrongness had its own allure, sharp and sweet. By Friday, When Jake texted about grabbing wings at a Pioneer Square pub, Brooks almost begged off, but loyalty won out. The bar was dim, packed with after-work crowds, the air thick with fry oil and laughter. Jake rambled about a client brief, oblivious, while Brooks nursed his stout, eyes scanning the door irrationally, as if Harlan might walk in. Earth to Brooks, Jake teased, clinking glasses. You zoning out on me? Girl troubles. Brooks forced a chuckle. Nah, just plotting my novel. You know, the one where the barista falls for the mechanic's ghost. Jake snorted. Sounds gay as hell. Write it. If only he knew. The weekend loomed like a storm front, and when Sunday arrived, Brooks found himself driving back to Queen Anne, the wipers swiping rhythmically against a light mist. This time, Jake was running late from a hike, texting apologies as Harlan let Brooks in, the house empty save for the hum of the fridge. Jake's boy will be here soon, Harlan said, gesturing to the couch. Make yourself at home. Beers in the cooler. They settled in, the pre-game chatter flowing easier now, laced with stories. Harlan's first Seahawks game in '78. Brooks's disastrous attempt at high school football. Laughter bridged the gap, but underneath simmered tension. Harlan's leg pressed against his on the couch, unmoving. When Jake finally tumbled in, mudcake boots and all, the game absorbed them again. But Brooks felt marked, like Harlan's eyes followed him through every cheer. As the clock wound down, victory secured. Jake proposed pizza, but Harlan waved it off. You two go on. I've got an early shift. Disappointment flickered in Brooks, masked by nods. At the door, Harlan's hand on his shoulder again, firmer, thumb grazing his neck. Drive safe. The touch burned all the way home, imprinting on his skin. That night, unable to sleep, Brooks opened his laptop, fingers flying across keys, pouring out a scene, two men in a rainy city, hands clasping in the dark, the world narrowing to breath and heartbeat. It was fiction, he told himself. Just fiction. But fiction has a way of bleeding into truth. The following week brought a curveball, a flat tire on Brooks's Subaru after a rain-soaked shift. He called Jake, but voicemail clicked on. Desperation led him to Harlan's number, saved from a group text months back. Hey, it's Brooks. Tire went out. Any chance you're free? Harlan's reply was immediate. On my way. 20 minutes later, his truck rumbled up, toolbox in hand, rain sheeting down. They worked side by side in the downpour, Harlan's jacket soaked through, clinging to his frame. Hold this, he said, passing a wrench, their fingers intertwining briefly. The air crackled. Tire fixed. Harlan straightened, water dripping from his brow. You okay? Brooks nodded, but his voice cracked. Yeah. Thanks for everything. Harlan's eyes searched his. Then, in a move that stopped Brooks's heart, he pulled him into a hug, brief, bone-crushing, paternal on the surface but electric underneath. Anytime. Son. The word son twisted like a knife. Even his warmth flooded Brooks. Back in his apartment, drying off, Brooks stared at his reflection, hazel eyes wide, cheeks flushed. What was this? Infatuation? Something deeper? He texted Jake, tire drama sorted. Harlan saved the day. Jake's reply, haha, Dad's a beast. 0-1. Brooks typed back. Deleted. Typed again, yeah. Owe him everything. The hooks sank deeper with each passing day. The game nights becoming ritual. The touches accidental accumulations. One evening, as autumn leaves turned the streets to gold, Jake bowed out for a date, leaving Brooks and Harlan alone for the first full game. The score was irrelevant. The real play unfolded in sidelong glances, shared silences heavy with possibility. Halftime, Harlan paused the TV, turned to him. "Brooks, level with me. What's eating you?" The question hung, vulnerable. Brooks's throat tightened. "It's complicated. Feelings I shouldn't have." Harlan's brow furrowed, then smoothed. "Life's full of those. Don't let them drown you." He reached out, cupped Brooks's chin, gentle, assessing. Time fractured. Their lips met, soft at first, then urgent. Harlan's stubble rough against smooth skin, hands tangling in hair. It was fire, forbidden and fierce, lasting eternities in seconds. They broke apart, breathing ragged. "This can't," Harlan started, but Brooks silenced him with another kiss. The dam breaking. What followed was a whirlwind of stolen moments, late-night drives to hidden viewpoints overlooking the sound. Harlan struck a cocoon of whispers and caresses, mornings after when Brooks woke in that big bed. Sheets tangled, Harlan's arm heavy across his waist. Jake remained blissfully unaware, his life a parallel track of freelance gigs and casual hookups. Brooks told himself it was harmless, a secret flame in the gray, but guilt gnawed, a shadow lengthening. Harlan confessed his own fractures, the loneliness after Elena, the fear of wanting again, especially like this, in a world that still whispered judgments. "You're young, Brooks, full of light. I don't want to dim that." But Brooks clung tighter, their bond weaving through poetry readings and dive bars and quiet dinners where Harlan cooked elk stew from hunting trip, stories flowing like wine. Yet cracks appeared. Jake's offhand comment one game night, "Dad's been happier lately. Must be the playoffs," landed like a warning. Brooks laughed it off, but inside, panic stirred. The unexpected had happened. All right, not just the kiss, but the fall, deep and devouring. And as winter edged in, snow dusting the Olympics in the distance, Brooks wondered how long they could dance on the edge before the fall. Winter clamped down on Seattle like a vice, the city hunkering under layers of gray sky and relentless drizzle that turned every sidewalk into a mirror of smeared reflections. Brooks navigated it all with a secret buoyancy, the kind that made his shifts at the coffee shop feel like interludes rather than anchors, steaming oat milk lattes for bleary-eyed techies. The hiss of the machine a counterpoint to the rush in his veins. Harlan had become his compass, their meetings carved out in the margins, a quick coffee at a hole-in-the-wall in Ballard, hands brushing under the table, a hike up Discovery Park where the evergreens muffled their laughter. Harlan's fingers tracing Brooks's palm like reading Braille. It was intoxicating. This double life, best friend by day, lover by stolen night, each encounter layering on depth. Harlan's quiet wisdom peeling back Brooks's defenses until he felt exposed. Alive, terrified. One crisp December evening, as fairy lights twinkled prematurely in shop windows, Jake invited him over for what he called pre-holiday debauchery, eggnog spiked with rum, a stack of bad holiday movies, and Harlan's famous cinnamon rolls warming in the oven. Brooks arrived with a bottle of bourbon, nerves jangling like loose change. because Harlan had texted earlier, wear that blue shirt. Makes your eyes pop. He did. Button just low enough to hint at collarbone. Heart slamming as the door opened. Jake enveloped him in a bear hug. Oblivious, while Harlan lingered in the kitchen doorway, eyes darkening with promise. Good to see you, Harlan said, voice pitched low, the words carrying undercurrents only Brooks could hear. The night unfolded in cozy chaos. Jake's relentless commentary on Die Hard as the ultimate Christmas flick, drawing groans and thrown popcorn. The room aglow with the tree's multicolored strands casting festive shadows. Brooks played along, perched on the couch's edge. But proximity to Harlan was a live wire, their thighs touching when Jake wasn't looking, Harlan's foot hooking around his ankle under the coffee table. A subtle anchor. When Jake stepped out for more ice, the air shifted, Harlan's hand finding Brooks's knee, squeezing. Missed you, he murmured, breath warm against his ear. Brooks turned, lips parting for a stolen kiss, brief, searing, before Jake's footsteps echoed back. The rush left Brooks dizzy, the movie blurring into irrelevance. As the credits rolled on the third film, Jake stretched, yawning. Him crashing early. Date tomorrow, in Tacoma. He clapped Brooks on the shoulder. Stay if you want. Dad won't bite. The irony twisted like smoke. Alone now, the house settled into hushed intimacy, the radiator clicking softly. Harlan poured bourbon, handing Brooks a glass, their fingers lingering. To unexpected turns, Harlan toasted, eyes locking. They talked then, really talked, Harlan opening up about the night Elena passed. The hospital room sterile and echoing. How Head held Jake's hand through the sobs, vowing to be enough for both of them. I thought that was it for me. No more room for this. He gestured between them, vulnerable. Brooks reached for him, pulling him close on the couch. The kiss deepening into exploration, hands roaming with the familiarity of lovers. They moved to Harlan's bedroom upstairs, the space sparse and masculine, darkwood bed frame. A single frame photo of the three of them on the nightstand, shedding clothes like old skins, bodies aligning in the dim lamplight. It was different this time, slower, laced with the weight of the season, Harlan's mouth tracing the freckles on Brooks's chest. Whispers of you feel like home against sweat-damp skin. Afterward, tangled in sheets that smelled of pine soap and him, Brooks traced the scars on Harlan's back from a long-ago factory mishap, asking about dreams deferred. I wanted to be a pilot once, Harlan admitted, voice muffled against Brooks's neck. But life, it grounds you. Brooks kissed his temple. Doesn't have to. Sleep came in fits. Dreams of open skies and endless horizons. Only to shatter at dawn when Jake's voice boomed from downstairs. Coffee smells amazing. Brooks crash here. Panic surged, Harlan bolting upright. Brooks scrambling for jeans. They descended separately, faces schooled to neutrality. But Jake's squint held a flicker of something. Suspicion? Nah. Just hangover haze. Brooks hoped. The holidays ramped up the tension. A glittering minefield. Christmas Eve found them at a potluck in Capitol Hill. Jake insisting on the queer-friendly vibe of his art collective. Strings of lights and queer carols filling the air. Harlan tagged along, a concession to Jake's pleading, his presence a magnetic pull amid the crowd. Brooks mingled, laughing at drag renditions of Jingle Bells. But his eyes tracked Harlan, broad-shouldered in a wool sweater. Charming ants with tales of Montana boyhood. When they slipped away to the balcony for air, the city sprawled below like a jeweled vein. Harlan's arms encircled him from behind. "This us. It's the best gift I've unwrapped in years." The words melted Brooks. But guilt shadowed the joy. Jake across the room, toasting to family, unaware his world tilted on an axis. New Year's brought the fracture closer. Jake hosted a small bash at the house. Fairy lights strung across the backyard despite the chill. A fire pit crackling against the night. Guest mill design buddies. A few Boeing colleagues of Harlan's, bottles clinking, laughter rising like steam. Brooks arrived fashionably late. Nerves electric, catching Harlan's eye across the flames. A nod pregnant with intent. They orbited each other. Conversations overlapping. Brooks debating indie films with Jake's friend Mia. Harlan holding court on Seahawks prospects. As midnight neared, the countdown built. Couples pairing off. Jake, tipsy and sentimental, slung an arm around Brooks. To another year of chaos. Bro. Then, in the crush of cheers, Harlan was there, pulling Brooks into the group hug, bodies pressing, his hand sliding low on Brooks's back. Possessive. The kiss of confetti and champagne masked the brush of lips against ear. Meet me in the garage later. The party wound down, guests trickling out into the fog-shrouded streets. Brooks lingered, helping stack chairs, until Jake waved him off to bed. The garage was dim, tools silhouetted like sentinels. Harlan struck a hulking shadow. He waited, heart thundering, and when Harlan appeared, jacket zipped against the cold. They collided fierce, desperate, the concrete floor biting knees as clothes pulled. It was raw, urgent, the new year birthing in gasps and grips. Harlan's name a mantra on Brooks's tongue. They emerged flushed, separate, but the risk hummed like adrenaline. January's gray monotony should have cooled things, but it fanned the flames. Game nights resumed, now charged with undercurrents. Jake's chatter a soundtrack to stolen touches under blankets. Harlan's foot nudging Brooks's in Morse code of want. One stormy Tuesday, after a shift that left Brooks drenched and drained, Harlan picked him up unannounced, driving them to Alki Beach where waves lashed the shore under sodium glow. They walked the pier, hands in pockets, but shoulders brushing, talking futures. What if we told him? Brooks ventured, wind whipping his hair. Harlan's jaw tightened. He's my son. Your friend. It'd break him. The fear was palpable. A wall between dream and reality. They made love in the truck cab. Windows fogged. The ocean roaring approval or warning. Signs of strain emerged. Jake grew quieter. Text sparse. Blaming work crunch. Brooks dismissed it. Lost in Harlan. The way he'd hum old Springsteen tunes while cooking breakfast. Or read Brooks's short stories aloud with genuine awe. Blue eyes soft. You got a gift. Kid. Don't waste it on doubt. It was love. Brooks realized one rain-lashed morning, tangled in Harlan's arms. The word solidifying like frost on glass. He said it first, whispered against collarbone. I love you. Harlan's response was a hitch of breath, then fierce embrace. God help me. I love you too. But love, unchecked, invites chaos. Mid-February, during a brutal cold snap that iced over the sound, Jake cornered Brooks at the coffee shop, face drawn. Something's off with Dad. He's distant. And you You're always around. But not really here. Brooks's stomach plummeted. Just busy. Man. Writing's flowing. Jake searched his eyes. Hurt flickering. Yeah. Well. Don't ghost me. The plea lingered. A crack in the foundation. That night, guilt drove Brooks to Harlan's door uninvited. Snow flurrying. Harlan pulled him inside. Concern etching lines. What's wrong? Everything spilled. Jake's words. The fear of loss. Harlan held him, rocking gently. Well, figure it. Together, they made promises in the firelight. Vows whispered like prayers. But as Brooks drove home, wipers battling the flurry, headlights caught a figure on the porch, Jake, watching. The eye contact was brief, loaded, the first thread unraveling. The betrayal brewed slow, a pot left to simmer. March bloomed tentative, cherry blossoms defiant against the chill, mirroring Brooks's fragile hope. Game night arrived, tension thick as fog. Jake was late again, citing traffic, leaving Brooks and Harlan in fraught quiet. When Jake finally stormed in, eyes red-rimmed, the air shifted. We need to talk. He dropped his bag, glaring between them. I saw you. Last month, in the garage. On the porch, silence crashed like waves. Harlan's face drained of color. Son, Jake cut him off, voice breaking. How long? My best friend and my dad? Jesus. Brooks reached out, but Jake recoiled. Don't. You both lied. To my face, the accusations flew, trust shattered. Hearts lay bare in the living room that once held laughter. Jake grabbed his keys, slamming the door, tires screeching into the night. In the aftermath, Harlan collapsed into the recliner, head and hands. I've ruined him. Ruined us. Brooks knelt, tears hot. No. Well, fix this. But the fix felt like grasping smoke. The unexpected now, a hurricane. Winds howling through the bones of their fragile world. The silence after Jake's departure was a living thing, coiling around the room like the smoke from Harlan's forgotten cigarette in the ashtray. The Seahawks' post-game analysis droning on unheard. Brooks stood frozen by the window, watching taillights vanish into the rain-veiled street, his chest hollowed out as if Jake had carved away a rib. Harlan rose slowly, movements leaden, crossing to him with the caution of approaching a wounded animal. Brooks, the name came out ragged, a plea wrapped in apology. Brooks turned, eyes stinging. He's gone. Because of us. Harlan's hand hovered, then dropped. He'll talk to him. He'll understand. But the words rang false even to his ears, the weight of paternal failure bowing his shoulders. They didn't make love that night. Instead, they clung in the dark, body spoons in a bed too vast. Harlan's breath uneven against Brooks's neck. Sleep evaded, chased by replays, the fury in Jake's eyes, the slam echoing like a guillotine. Dawn crept in gray, coffee brewing automatic, the kitchen a battlefield of unspoken blame. Harlan left for work early, kissing Brooks's forehead with ghost lips. Give him space. He'll handle it. Brooks nodded, but as the truck rumbled away, isolation crashed in. He called in sick to the coffee shop, curling on the couch with his laptop, words refusing to flow. Instead, memories assaulted, Jake's grin at their first concert, Mosh Pit Brothers, the way Head defended Brooks against campus bullies, fist raised like a shield. Betrayal wasn't just Harlan's to bear. It was Brooks's too, a stain seeping into the fabric of friendship. Text from Jake stayed unread. Voicemails piling like snowdrifts. First angry rants dissolving into choked sobs. How could you do this to me? Brooks typed replies. Deleted. Typed again. I'm sorry. Let me explain. Silence answered. Avoid swallowing hope. Midday brought Harlan home unannounced. Lunchbox in hand. Face etched with defeat. He's not answering. Crashed at MIA's. They ate sandwiches in quiet. Knees touching under the table. The contact a lifeline. Remember that trip to Olympic National Park last summer? Harlan ventured. Voice soft. You and Jake racing to the waterfall. Me trailing like the old man. Brooks managed to smile. You kept up. The reminiscence bridged. Momentarily, but the ache lingered. A bruise blooming. Afternoon dissolved into avoidance. Brooks wandering Fremont streets. Past the Lenin statue, staring eternally. Stopping at a used bookstore where dog-eared paperbacks promised escapes he couldn't afford. He bought a volume of Whitman's Leaves of Grass. The lines on comradeship mocking. I'm he that walks with the tender and growing night. Back home. The house felt alien. Echoes of laughter, now accusations. Evening found him at a poetry slam in a warehouse loft. Words spilling from strangers like blood from fresh cuts. But none pierced his numbness. A drink at a nearby bar. Then another, until buzz dulled the edges. Harlan picked him up at closing. No judgment, just a steady drive through glittering avenues. You're spiraling, he said gently. Hand on thigh. Talk to me. Brooks did. Tears hot on cheeks. The confession cathartic, fear of losing both. The guilt gnawing like acid. Harlan's response was embrace at a red light. Traffic hushed around them. The next days blurred into a tense standoff. Jake surfaced sporadically, a curt email canceling their standing hike. A social media block that stung like salt. Harlan tried bridges. Voicemails left with stories of boyhood mischief. Texts quoting Jake's favorite comics. Nothing. Work became refuge, Harlan wrenching at Boeing. Grease under nails a distraction, Brooks slinging coffee. Smiles automatic for customers oblivious. One shift. A regular, an older queer man with silver hair and kind eyes, noticed the shadows. Rough patch. Kid. Brooks shrugged. But the dam cracked. Story tumbling out in fragments. The man nodded. Love's messy. Especially when family tangles in. Give it time. Hearts heal crooked, but they heal. Wisdom landed soft. A balm. Week 2 brought confrontation. Jake showed at the coffee shop unannounced. Hood pulled low. Eyes hollow. Brooks froze mid-pour. Steam rising like specters. Can we talk? Not here. They walked to Gasworks Park. The skeletal towers looming like judges. Wind whipping Lake Union surface. Jake lit a cigarette. Hands shaking. I hate you both. But mostly, I hate that I saw it coming. The admission hung. Raw. Brooks absorbed blows, the lies, the stolen moments under his roof, the erosion of trust. You are my brother, Jake spat. And him, he's supposed to protect me. Not. This. Tears tracked Jake's face. Brooks reached, but pulled back. I love him. Jake. Didn't plan it. But you're still. Jake laughed bitter. Don't. Just don't. He walked away, back rigid, leaving Brooks amid rusting relics, the city's pulse mocking his fracture. Harlan waited at home, face crumpling at the recount. He's right. I'm the adult here. Should have known better. Self-loathing coiled in him. Fists clenched. Brooks pulled him close. We both chose. Well, both fix. That night, they talked strategy, letters, therapy, space. Harlan suggested counseling. A couple's place in West Seattle had researched. Brooks agreed. Desperation forging resolve. Sessions began awkward. The therapist's neutral space a mirror to their chaos. Harlan's guarded confessions of post-widow isolation. Brooks's admissions of attachment wounds from his dad's abandonment. Progress inched. Vulnerability bonding them tighter even as external storms raged. Spring teased with erratic sun. Tulips pushing through soil in the front yard. Symbols of resilience Brooks clung to. Jake's thaw came gradual, a return text. Neutral, still mad. But alive. Harlan seized it, inviting him to dinner. Neutral ground at a diner in Georgetown. Brooks stayed away, heart in throat. Harlan returned hollow-eyed, but hopeful. He listened. Yelled some. But listened. Details trickled. Jake's pain at feeling replaced. The ghost of his mom amplifying betrayal. He misses you, Harlan added, squeezing Brooks's hand. Says you're still family. Twisted as that is, rebuilding threaded slow. A group hike in the Issaquah Alps. Tension thick as humidity. Jake and Brooks orbiting Harlan. Conversations stilted around weather and trails. Laughter cracked through once. At a mud-slicked slip. The sound fragile, but real. Evenings. Brooks and Harlan navigated new rhythms. Dates in disguise. Movies in Belltown were hands laced in dark theaters. Whispers of forever tempered by caution. Intimacy deepened. Not just physical, but soul-bearing. Harlan sharing yellowed letters from Elena. Brooks reading aloud from his novel draft. Chapters of men loving against odds. This is us, Harlan murmured. Pride swelling. Yet crisis loomed. Late April. Jake's design firm hit a snag, a big client pullout. Stress fracturing his composure. He leaned on Harlan unexpectedly. Crashing movie nights. The trio dynamic a tightrope. One evening, post-dinner, Jake lingered, eyes on them too sharp. You too. You're careful now. Like you're hiding in plain sight. The room stilled. Harlan cleared throat. We're figuring it out. For you. Jake snorted. For me? Or for you? Hurt flashed. But he softened. Just. Don't lie anymore. I can't take it. The pact formed unspoken. Honesty. However brutal. May bloomed fuller. Emotions cresting like tides. Brooks's novel gained traction, a local lit mag acceptance. Harlan's toast at a quiet celebration. To stories that heal. Jake even texted congrats. The bridge strengthening. But undercurrents pulled. Harlan's health scare. A nagging cough dismissed as allergies. Flaring anxiety in Brooks. Tests clear. But the scare crystallized fragility. Time borrowed. Love urgent. Summer edged in. Solstice sun gilding the sound. Promising thaw. A barbecue in the backyard. First since the blow-up, tentative normalcy. Burgers sizzling. Jake's playlist thumping indie tracks. Laughter flowed freer. Toast to second chances. As dusk fell, fireflies winking, Jake pulled Brooks aside. I get it now. Kinda. Love's weird. But you're still my guy. Embrace awkward but earnest. Tears salting cheeks. Harlan watched, eyes misty, the trio mending, scar but whole. Yet the unexpected lingered, a shadow promising more storms. For now, though, they breathe, the crisis forging steel in fragile bonds. Love's drama unfolding in acts yet unwritten. June unfurled in Seattle like a hesitant flag. The sun breaking through clouds with the reluctance of a performer stepping into spotlight, casting long shadows over the awakening city. Brooks felt the shift in his bones, a tentative optimism threading through the daily grind. His barista shifts now buoyed by snippets of Harlan's voice on speakerphone during slow hours, planning evenings that danced around Jake's schedule. The mending with Jake had taken root, fragile tendrils pushing through cracked soil. Coffee meetups where banter edged back, laced with cautious probes into the new normal. Jake confessed over black brews at a Capitol Hill cafe. Steam curling like question marks. It's weird seeing you too. Like, happy weird. But I miss the old us before the soap opera. Brooks nodded, throat tight. Miss it too. But this, it's real. Jake's sigh carried weight. Yeah. Just don't make me the punchline. Harlan, ever the mediator, poured energy into repair, weekend projects with Jake at the house, rebuilding a backyard deck splintered by winter neglect, hammers swinging in rhythmic therapy. Brooks joined peripherally, hauling lumber, stealing glances at Harlan's sweat-damp shirt clinging to back muscles, the sight stirring heat amid the labor. Evenings after, the three shared beers on the fresh planks, stories weaving old and new, Jake's wild college pranks, Harlan's tales of 80s road trips cross-country in a rusty Chevy. Laughter rang tentative, then true, the deck a metaphor, patched, sturdy, bearing weight. Brooks's writing surged, the novel swelling with chapters born of their tumult, protagonists navigating forbidden love's fallout, redemption sketched in rain-streaked windows. Harlan read drafts by lamplight, his feedback thoughtful. Make the pain sharper here. Oh, cut deeper, drawing Brooks closer. Their critiques dissolving into kisses on the worn couch. Intimacy evolved, less frantic, more anchored, lazy Sundays in bed. Harlan's fingers combing through Brooks's hair as they discussed dreams. Harlan eyeing early retirement for a small engine shop. Brooks submitting to agents with quiet fire. You're my muse, Brooks teased one morning, lips brushing stubble. Harlan chuckled deep. And you're my spark. Careful, or it'll burn. But harmony harbored undercurrents, eddies of doubt swirling. Jake's presence amplified scrutiny, his eyes lingering too long during dinners. Questions veiled. You guys fight yet? Every couple's got dirt. Harlan deflected with humor. But tension coiled. A spring wound tight. Mid-July. Heat wave blanketing the city in uncharacteristic swelter. The fracture reemerged. Jake arrived for game night flushed, eyes glassy from a bar crawl with colleagues. Heard something today, he slurred, dropping onto the couch. Beer in fist. Guy at work knows Dad from the plant. Said he's been distracted, mooning over some young thing. The room iced despite the humidity. Harlan's jaw clenched. Jake's not, but Jake barreled on, gaze pinning Brooks. Funny how that lines up with your glow-up. Huh, accusation hung. Alcohol sharpening edges. Brooks's pulse thundered. It's not like that. We're careful. Jake laughed hollow. Careful? You think I don't see the looks? The way he lights up when you walk in. Harlan intervened. Voice steel. Enough. This ain't the time. But Jake rose, swaying. When you two elope and leave me the scraps. The outburst cracked open wounds, abandonment fears from Elena's death resurfacing. Jake's voice breaking on alone again. Harlan pulled him in a hug, murmuring apologies. But Jake shrugged off, storming upstairs. The game forgotten, Brooks slipped out, driving aimless through sweat-slick streets. Radio crooning ballads of lost love. At his apartment, messages piled, Harlan's worried texts. Jake's rambling voicemail dissolving into sniffles. Sorry. Drunk idiot. But it hurts. Man, morning brought hangover reckoning. Harlan called a family sit-down over breakfast. Pancakes stacked high. Coffee strong. Jake slouched in, eyes puffy. I overreacted. But it's real, the jealousy. Feels like you're stealing him. Vulnerability stripped bare. The table a confessional. Harlan reached across, gripping Jake's hand. Never. You're my blood. Brooks. He's the bonus round. Brooks added soft. I want us all. No thieves here. Tears fell. Shared. The heat outside mirroring inner thaw. They vowed therapy, not just for the couple, but family sessions, unpacking layers. Jake's grief tangled with resentment. Harlan's guilt as survivor. Brooks's outsider ache for belonging. August rolled in with festivals, Seafair air show booming overhead, hydroplanes slicing Elliott Bay. The trio attended. A test run, cotton candy sticky fingers. Jake's whoops at aerial stunts masking unease. Harlan and Brooks held space, hands brushing crowd's camouflage. But Jake's nod at a stolen glance signaled progress. Evenings deepened bonds, Harlan teaching Brooks to grill salmon on the deck. Smoke curling as Jake sketched logos nearby. Chatter flowing easy. One night, post-dinner, Jake unveiled a design, a logo for Harlan's dream shop. Gears interlocking hearts subtle. For the old man. And his partner, the gift landed profound. Hugs lingering. The unexpected mending a quiet miracle. Yet conflict simmered external now. Harlan's cough returned. Persistent. Sending him to the doc, Tess ordered. Shadows of Elena's illness looming. Waiting rooms became their vigil. Brooks holding Harlan's hand in sterile halls. Jake pacing with force calm. Results, bronchitis. Treatable. But the scare unearthed terror. Can't lose you, Brooks whispered post-diagnosis. Curled on the porch swing. Harlan pulled him close. Won't. Promise, Jake echoed later. Bear hug fierce, scared me straight. Dad. No more bullshit. The brush with mortality sharpened edges. Love's fragility etched deeper. September's back-to-school bustle mirrored internal shifts, Jake landing a promotion. Confidence blooming, Brooks's novel querying agents. Rejections tempered by Harlan's steady next. Romance flourished in margins, a weekend getaway to the San Juans. Ferry slicing Salish Sea. Cabin rented under Jake's nose. They hiked moss-draped trails, made love to loons calling. Harlan's whispers of forever against salt air skin. Marry me, he murmured one dawn. Ring absent but intent clear. Brooks's yes trembled. Joy laced with caution, the proposal a beacon. But Jake's acceptance the key. Return brought reality crash. Jake sensed the glow, confronting over beers at the pub. You're serious. Like? Endgame. Brooks nodded, heart exposed. Jake's face crumpled. Happy for you. Really? But what about me? The third wheel forever. The fear poured, envy of their ease, dread of exclusion. Harlan joined. Trio huddle in the dim booth. Will's got room for 3, he quipped. Then Ernest. You're irreplaceable. Son. Always. Tears and toast sealed it. The pub's hum a backdrop to healing. Autumn waned. Leaves carpeting Queen and in crimson. Emotions peaking. Harlan's shop plans solidified. Lease signed. Grand opening whispers. Brooks contributed story for signage. Words curving elegant. Jake designed invites. The project a tapestry of them. But betrayal's ghost stirred when an old flame of Jake's, Mia, sharp-tongued artist, dropped hints at a gallery opening. Heard your dad's got a boy toy. Juicy. Jake's defense flared, snapping back. But seeds of town gossip planted doubt. People talk, he warned later. You ready for that? The question hung as October chilled. Pumpkins grinning from porches. Highs built. Harlan shop's soft launch. Locals milling. Brooks behind counter pouring coffee. Jake snapping photos. Pride swelled. But crisis crested at closing. A drunk patron slurring slurs. Ferry mechanic. Harlan ejecting him calm, but eyes stormy. Back home. Rage boiled. World ain't changed much, he muttered. Brooks held him. But we have, Jake added. And he'll punch the next one. Through it. Love anchored, kisses in shop backroom. Jake's teasing eye rolls evolving to acceptance. Yet the arc bent towards storm. Whispers of external pressures foreshadowing the drop. For now, they stood, fortified, the dramatic weave tightening, romance's flame flickering defiant. November's chill seeped into Seattle's marrow, the city exhaling fog that clung to streets like unresolved regrets, mirroring the subtle fractures re-emerging in the Whitaker household. Harlan's shop, Whitaker's works, hummed with early patronage, locals dropping off ATVs for tune-ups. The air thick with oil and optimism, but success amplified scrutiny. Whispers slithered through Boeing break rooms, reaching Harlan in sidelong glances and coded jokes. Heard the boss has got a soft spot for baristas. He laughed it off, broad shoulders shrugging. But the barbs lodged, festering quiet. Brooks felt it too, at the coffee shop where a regular's knowing wink accompanied his order. Still slinging for the old man, casual malice. But it chipped at the facade, turning stolen lunches into exercises in vigilance. Jake, thriving in his promoted role, leading pitches for eco-brands, became unwitting conduit. A client dinner unearthed gossip. Your dad's shop? Buzzes he's batting for the other team now. Jake deflected sharp. Dad's business is engines. Not rumors, but unease nod. Text to Brooks terse. We good? The trio's equilibrium teetered. Dinners at the house, now laced with subtext. Laughter forced around turkey carvings for Thanksgiving. Extended family joined. Harlan's sister from Spokane. Aunts cooing over pie, oblivious. But they're probing any special someone. Harlan hung heavy, his vague workings on it drawing Jake's averted eyes. Brooks, seated across, picked at stuffing, the normalcy a mass cracking under strain. Post-feast, as leaves skittered across lawns. The blow landed. Jake arrived home early from a late meeting. The house dark save for lamplight spilling from Harlan's bedroom window. Curtains agape, just enough. He froze on the porch. Silhouetted figures moving in rhythm. Harlan and Brooks. Lost in embrace. The sight searing like brand. Betrayal reignited. Not new, but vicious. Jake's key turned slow and lock. But he retreated to his truck, driving blind through tears to MIAs. Voicemail left raw. Again? In my house. Thought we were past hiding. Harlan found it at midnight. Face ashen. Waking Brooks with a play. He's right. We're careless. Guilt crashed. Waves eroding resolve. They dressed hurried. Harlan speeding to MIAs through slick streets. Confrontation unfolded in her cramped living room. Air stale with incense and hurt. Jake paced. Fistballed. I see you trying for me. But then this? Like him the idiot outsider. Harlan knelt. Voice breaking. You're not. Never. Brooks hovered doorway. Words failing. Jake whirled. And you, parading it now? After everything. The litany poured, resentment at their ease. Fear of losing Harlan's undivided light. The echo of Mom's absence amplified. She's gone. And you're replacing with him. The words gutted. Harlan recoiling as if struck. Mia mediated soft. But storm raged till dawn. Jake agreeing to crash there. Harlan and Brooks retreating hollow. Days fractured into ice age. Jake ghosted. Work emails only. Professional chill. Harlan threw into shop. Wrenching late. Grease a second skin masking pain. Brooks's shifts blurred. Lattes mechanical. Writing stalled at blank screens. Nights. They clung mechanical too. Touches seeking solace, but finding echoes. He's pulling away, Brooks whispered one midnight. Rain pattering roof. Harlan sighed heavy. My fault. Pushed too hard for normal. Therapy ramped. Individual now. Brooks unpacking abandonment patterns with a counselor overlooking the locks. Voice steady. You fear loss because you've lived it. But chasing safety strangles. Harlan sessions unearthed survivor guilt. The cough's shadow lingering. Elena's death taught me love ends. This terrifies. Reaching Jake proved Sisyphean. Harlan penned letter. Hand trembling on paper, words of unwavering fatherhood. Apologies for blindness. Plea for dialogue. Delivered via Mia. It elicited a reply terse. Need time. Brooks tried too. Package of Jake's favorite graphic novels annotated with memories. Margins scrawled this page. That bonfire night we laughed till dawn. Silence answered. A void echoing louder. Holidays loomed phantom. Thanksgiving redux without Jake a specter. The table set for ghosts. December thawed marginally. Jake appeared at the shop unannounced. Coveralls borrowed. Tools in hand. Teach me something, he muttered. Eyes down. Harlan blinked. Then nodded. Guiding through carburetor rebuild. Hands steadying Jake's shakes. Hours passed wordless. Then tentative, missed this. Harlan gripped shoulder. Missed you more. Brooks watched from counter. Heart clenching, progress. Fragile. Evening beers followed. At a neutral tavern in Fremont. Stories skirting the rift. Jake's latest pitch triumph. Harlan's quirky customer tale. Laughter flickered. But Jake's gaze on Brooks held reserve. You heard him. You answered to me. Warning laced affection. Boundary drawn. You brought fragile festivity. Jake joined tree trimming. Ornaments heavy with history. Alina's hand-painted stars drawing misty eyes. Harlan strung lights. Brooks untangled cords. Jake blasted carols ironic. Gifts exchanged cautious. Harlan to Jake. A vintage toolbox etched with initials. Jake to Brooks. Sketchpad cover embossed yours still bro. The gesture mended a seam. Embrace awkward but warm. New Year's Eve. They toasted small, champagne flutes in the living room. Countdown on TV, a ritual reclaimed. At midnight, hugs cycled. Jake's to Harlan's fierce. To Brooks lingering, trying. For real. Winter waned. January's gray yielding to February's hints of green. Shop thrived. Harlan's crew expanding. A young mechanic. Tomas. Apprenticing under eye. Jake integrated slow. Dropping by for lunches. Designed for shop merch. Romance for Harlan and Brooks navigated minefield. Dates coded as errands, but intimacy deepened in stolen depths. Harlan tracing Brooks's spine in bed. Murmuring, "You're my anchor." Proposal resurfaced casual. Over diner hash, still mean it. When he's ready, Brooks squeezed hand. When we all are. But crisis crested mid-March. Spring equinox storm raging. Jake's firm imploded. Major client scandal tanking projects. Layoffs looming. He spiraled, drowning in dive bars. Text erratic, why bother? Harlan fetched him twice. Dawn drive silent. Brooks joined intervention at the house. Kitchen lit harsh. You're enough, Harlan urged. Voice gravel. Jake shattered. Not when you two shine without me. Like I fade. The confession raw. Therapy's fault lines exposed. Jake's imposter syndrome. Fear of obsolescence. They vowed support. Harlan fronting resume tweaks. Brooks reading slush pile tales for distraction. Nights blurred into vigil. Jake crashing spare room. The house a cocoon mending. April bloomed resilient. Cherry petals confetti on walks. Trio treks to Green Lake. Ducks quacking approval. Jake landed freelance gig. Spark reigniting. Harlan's birthday surprise. Shop closed early. Backyard feast with Mia and Tomas. Grill smoke curling stories. Toast flowed. Jake's speech halting but heartfelt. To dads who love big. And friends who stick. Tears glistened. Cake sweet counterpoint. Yet undercurrent pulled darker. Gossip crested. Anonymous note slipped under shop door. Keep it in the closet. Queer. Harlan burned it. But chill lingered. Jake found out. Fury flaring. They come for you. They come for us. Unity forged in fire. The betrayal external now. Stealing resolve. Love's drama intensified. Romance's warmth defiant against encroaching shadows. The arc bending toward precipice. Hearts intertwined in precarious dance. May's warmth coaxed Seattle into bloom. Tulip fields in Mount Vernon bursting defiant color against the ever-looming gray. A metaphor for the tentative vibrancy reclaiming the Whitakers' lives. Harlan's shop stabilized. Steady hum of diagnostics and chatter a bomb. But the note's poison seeped. Manifesting in declined services, subtle boycotts from conservative clients. Whispers turning to cold shoulders at supplier pickups. Harlan masked it stoic. Broad frame absorbing blows. But nights revealed cracks. Pacing kitchen at 2 a.m. Coffee cold. Eyes distant. Can't let it touch you. Head murmur when Brooks stirred. Pulling him close. But it did. tendrils wrapping their sanctuary. Turning game nights into guarded rituals, Jake's scanning invites wary. The TVs roar a shield against outside static. Brooks channeled unease into art. Novel revisions pouring fierce. Chapters of lovers besieged by judgment. Resilience sketched in quiet rebellions. An agent bit. Partial request landing like lifeline. Harlan celebrating with takeout tie on the deck. Spring breeze carrying jasmine. Knew you'd soar, he said. Fork midway. Eyes proud. Jake joined impromptu. Sketching caricatures on napkins. Laughter bubbling. Make Dad the villain. Grumpy gearhead with heart of gold. The levity masked undercurrents, but bonded them. The trios weave tightening against fray. Jake's freelance stabilized, but scars lingered, trust erosion making him pull inward. Dates fizzling under cynicism. Why bother? He confessed over porch swings one dusk. Beer sweating in hand. See you too. All in, makes my flings feel disposable. Harlan leaned forward. Voice low. Love's not disposable. It's work. Yours'll come, Brooks added. Until then, we got your back. Jake nodded, but I shadowed doubt. The conversation planting seeds of his own quiet storm. June's solstice brought escalation. Shop vandalized overnight. Graffiti scrawled on bay doors. Pervert fixer. Rainbow slashed red. Harlan discovered at dawn patrol. Paint fresh accusation. Stomach dropping. He called Jake first. Voice steady but laced tremor. Need you here. Brooks arrived minutes later. Coffee run aborted. Face paling at the sight. Police report filed perfunctory. Hate crime logged. But follow-up promised vague. Jake roared in. Fists clenched. Who? Ill. Harlan halted him. Arm iron. Not with violence. With us standing. Cleanup became communal. Tomas scrubbing beside locals who rallied. Brooms sweeping solidarity. News snippet aired local. Quiet queer-owned shop targeted. Drawing unexpected allies. A Pride org fundraiser pop-up. Donations flooding. Yet internal betrayal brewed. Mia. Jake's on off. Cracked under pressure, overhearing shop talk. Her conservative folks pressuring distance. He's toxic now. That family. She confronted Jake, tearful. Can't swim in your drama. Breakup gutted him. Isolation crashing. He lashed at Harlan over dinner. Your love poisons everything. MIA's gone cause of the spotlight. Words landed brutal. Harlan recoiling. Fork clattering. This ain't on us. World's poison. We're just living. Jake stormed out. Door rattling pains. Leaving Brooks to console. He's hurting. Not hating. Harlan deflated. Feels like it. Crisis peaked. Sweltering July 4th. Fireworks cracking night like judgments. Family barbecue plan neutral. Park picnic. But rain scattered them home. Tension electric. Jake arrived late. Eyes bloodshot from solo bar. Heard more crap today? Clients ghosted me too. Family ties, they say. Paranoia laced. Accusations flying. You two waving flags? Drawing fire. Harlan rose slow. We're breathing. Son. Not waving. Argument escalated. Voices rising over sizzle of burgers. Jake's fear morphing rage. You chose him over me. Harlan countering never over. Always with. Brooks mediated futile. Words lost in din. Jake bolted mid-shout. Truck peeling gravel. Phone dead after. Search began frantic. Harlan calling contacts. Brooks scouring socials. Mia silent. Hours ticked agony. Storm breaking literal. Thunder rumbling dread. Midnight call. Jake at a Puget Sound overlook. Bottle empty. Text slurred. End it all. Panic surged. Harlan drove white-knuckled. Brooks beside. Rain sheeting wipers. They found him perched railing. City lights blurring below. Face streaked. Sorry, he choked as Harlan enveloped. Pull him back to safety. Brooks joined huddle. Arms triple lock. We got you. Always. ER sobered him, detox monitored. Therapy mandated. Dawn found them huddled waiting room. Exhaustion bonding. Harlan's hand in Jake's. Brooks anchoring other. Recovery etched slow August. Sun mocking inner chill. Jake inpatient weak. Emerging hollow but resolute. Rock bottom sucks. Don't want to visit again. Outpatient, wove routine. Group circles in community center. Sharing circles of shame to strength. Harlan attended family add-ons. Confessions raw. Feared ID lose you like her. Pushed too hard to protect. Jake absorbed. Tears silent. Push me away. Brooks shared outsider lens. Felt like intruder. But your core. Forgiveness flowered tentative. Walks along beaches mending. Collecting sea glass. Each shard story swapped. September schooled in humility. Jake's gig sporadic. But support netted. Harlan's shop crew gigs. Brooks's readings at open mics drawing tips. Romance for Harlan Brooks tempered. Nights gentle. Reassurances whispered. Well weather. Proposal shelved. Timing sacred. Gossip waned. Vandals uncaught, but community shields rose. Pride flags shop front. Allies vocal. October gilded edges. Leaves crunching under trio hikes in Cougar Mountain. Breaths sinking. Jake dated casual, a barista with easy smile, testing waters. Sharing laughs over dinners. Harlan's cough cleared full. Checkups green. Brooks's agent, full manuscript requested. Euphoria shared. Champagne toast. Jake's grin genuine. Knew you'd, but art demanded climax. November elections stirred pot. Local measures on protections. Debates raging bars. Shop became forum. Clients arguing heated. One loyalist turning. Your kind ruins values. Harlan ejected calm. But aftermath quaked. Jake overheard. Old wounds ripping. See? We pay for your choice. Relapse loomed. But group held. Choice is living true. Cost shared. Harlan echoed. Won't hide. Not anymore. December crested redemptive. Holiday lights strung defiant. Shop party inclusive. Drag queens mingling mechanics. Toast to resilience. Jake pulled Brooks aside. Gift in hand, engraved pen, for stories that save. You did. For us, embrace brotherly. Tears salt sweet. Yet precipice called. January New Year. Harlan's dock unearthed shadow. Routine scan flag lung spot. Elena echo. Biopsy scheduled. Fear coiling. If Harlan started, but Brooks silenced. When it's nothing, Jake rallied fierce. We're fighters. Wait blur days. Vigil constant. Nights huddled. Stories soothing. Remembrances of Elena's strength. Brooks's tales of fictional triumphs. Results dropped mid-month. Benign. Scar tissue old. Relief. Crash title. Hugs bruising. Laughter reborn. Dodge bullet. Harlan breathed. Pulling them close. Oh, you both. Spring 2026 dawned healed. Scars badges. Novel soul modest advance. Launch party packed. Jake emceeing. Harlan beaming front row. Romance bloomed open. Harlan's proposal public. Neat bent at reading. Marry me. Brooks Whitaker. Yes, chorused. Cheers enveloping. Betrayal's wake yielded wisdom. Love, not possession, but constellation. Stars aligned in orbit. They stood, mended. The dramatic tapestry woven richer. Humanity's thread golden and gray. The summer of 2026 arrived in Seattle like an old friend bearing wildflowers and second chances. The sun lingering longer each evening as if reluctant to surrender the light, mirroring the gradual unveiling of the Whitakers' rebuilt world. Harlan's proposal had rippled outward, a pebble in the sound, sending waves of acceptance through their circle. Jake's designed collective toasting at a rooftop bar in Belltown, glasses clinking under string lights, his speech weaving humor and heart to dads who fix more than engines. And the guy who fixed him, Brooks, ring simple silver band glinting on finger, had pulled Jake in a side hug later, whispering, "Couldn't without you." The nod exchange spoke volumes. Brotherhood reforged in fires they'd all stoked and survived. Wedding planning unfolded unhurried. A tapestry of intimate threads, vows penned in Harlan's blocky script, exchanged over dawn coffees, suit fittings in Pioneer Square. Jake kibitzing ties with mock seriousness. Navy, Dad, makes you look less geriatric. Venue chosen modest, a waterfront gazebo in Golden Gardens Park. Puget Sound backdrop. Evergreens framing the aisle. Guests curated small. Tomas and shop crew. MIA's reconciliation tentative invite accepted. Brooks's mom flying from Spokane. Eyes misty at rehearsal dinner tales of the man who'd tamed her boy's wild heart. No drama shadowed. Instead, catharsis bloomed. Harlan's sister toasting Elena's spirit in their union. She'd love this full-circle joy, yet humanity's depth demanded nuance, not fairy dust. Brooks's novel release hit soft. Indie press launch in a Fremont bookstore. Shelves groaning under locals. Readings drawing queer youth hungry for stories mirroring their quiet rebellions. Reviews trickled kind. A tender gut punch of found family amid forbidden flames, one penned, unknowingly echoing their lives. Harlan attended every event. Front row anchor. Post-reading embraces in alley shadows whispering pride. Your words. They heal, strangers too. Jake illustrated promo art, gears in twine vines, his freelance blooming into illustration side hustle. Confidence cresting waves once drowned him. Challenges lingered subtle. Life's undercurrents testing resolve. Shop hit snag. Supplier hike post-election tariffs. Harlan negotiating late. Stress etching lines anew. Jake's dating steadied with the barista. Ethan, tattooed poet with gentle laugh, but vulnerability surfaced over backyard fire pits. Scared ill sabotage. Like before, Harlan shared widower scars. Did. Learned. Love's patient teacher. Brooks' added lens. We're all students. The wisdom cycled. Bonds elastic. Stretching without snap. August heat peaked crisis minor. A storm downing power lines. Shop dark 3 days. Harlan pacing circuits. Brooks and Jake rallied. Pop-up repair tent in driveway. Neighbors queuing grills for light. Laughter amid sweat. Jake's bad jokes. Brooks's iced tea runs. Turned ordeal communal. Resilience communal. Power restored. Harlan clapped backs. Team effort. Always. September school deeper. Brooks's mom visit extended. Stories unearthed. His dad's rare calls from Dakota. Ghosts of absence. Over diner pie. She gripped his hand, proud of your courage. Son, this family, it's yours earned. Tears, salted crust. Healing generational rifts. Harlan echoed private. Shed welcome you always. October, gilded routines. Foliage hikes in rattlesnake ledge. Breaths sinking ascents. Summits yielding sound panoramas. Jake proposed to Ethan casual over summit sandwiches. Rings Snickers wrapped. Cheers echoed. Harlan's bear hug. Welcome, kid. Whitakers multiply. Double weddings teased. Futures braided. November elections pass quieter. Protections holding. Shop flags waving proud. Gossip faded relic. Allies vocal louder. Pride Month mural Jake designed adorning bay door. Colors vivid defiance. December crested joyful. Holidays layered. Hanukkah candles with Ethan's family fusion. Christmas tree Elaine ornamented. New Year's countdown trio plus. Fireworks legal over sound. Vows renewed and formal. Harlan to Brooks under mistletoe. Still yes. Affirmation kissed deep. Winter yielded to spring 2027. Wedding day dawning clear. Gulls wheeling azure. Gazebo bloomed wildflowers. Guests seated arcs, 50 souls. Love's mosaic. Jake Bestman. Speech weaving raw. From betrayal's ash. Phoenix us, Dad's heart mended. Mine too. Brooks. You didn't steal. You shared. Tears collective. Laughter chasing. Vows simple. Harlan's in storms and sun. You're my harbor. Brooks's, your steady woke my wild, forever anchor. Rings exchanged. Kiss sealed. Cheers crashing waves. Reception spilled beach picnic blankets. Platters. Band strumming folk under tents. Dances twirled. Harlan Brooks' slow sway to Springsteen. Jake Ethan spinning wild. Group conga absurd. Joy unbridled. Toasts layered profundity. Mia on redemption. Tomas on quiet strengths. Moms on circles closed. Honeymoon brief. Cabin in Ho rainforest. Moss cathedrals enveloping. Rain's rhythmic lullabies. Days wandered fern trails. Hands laced, nights firelit. Bodies mapping familiar new. Worth every scar, Harlan murmured. Fingers tracing band. Brooks nodded. Head pillowed chest. Scars make the story. Return integrated seamless. Shop honeymoon sign mugs for clients. Jake's wedding gift. Custom van wrap. Gears Hearts logo. Life flowed textured. Brooks's sequel drafting. Inspirations drawn domestic. Harlan's workshop hum. Jake's studio visits. Challenges peppered. Harlan's knee twinge from old injury. Therapy swim shared. Jake's client loss. Pep talks porch side. Years blurred montage. Anniversaries beachside. Rings renewed sands. Jake's marriage Ethan. Double vows echoing. Harlan shop franchise whisper. Legacy building. Brooks's novels stack shelves. Tours weaving tales true-ish. Grandkids teased. Jake's adoption dreams voiced tentative. A decade on. Gray threaded Harlan's hair fuller. Brooks's laugh lines deepened. Jake's sketches world traveled. Betrayals echo faint scar. Stories moral etched. Love not linear triumph. But human weave phrase. Men's. Endures. In Queen Anne's craftsman. Now bustling with visits. They gathered game nights eternal. Scores irrelevant. Bond score. One autumn eve. Leaves drifting gold. Harlan raised glass. To unexpected beginnings. Jake clinked. And endings that loop. Brooks smiled. Eyes meeting Harlan's deep. To us, all of it. The toast lingered. Humanity's grace in ordinary glow. Life's drama pinned in hearts unbroken.